Hey guys, welcome into Scoop City. I'm the athletic senior NFL insider, Dianna Russini. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the latest scoop. Our Scoop City Best of series from season 1 continues this week with not just some defensive stars, but some tone setters for an entire organization. We sat down with Steeler Cam Heyward, 49er Fred Warner, and Texan Will Anderson Jr. to talk about identity, leadership, and what it takes to dominate in today's offensive-driven league. All-pro defensive tackle, Mr. Steeler himself, team captain, Cam Heyward. We wanted to hit you right away on the fact that you broke the record recently for a defensive player playing the absolute most snaps as a Pittsburgh Steeler. And it had us thinking, how far do you want to take this thing? Like, do you want to break the Steeler record for most games played, most snaps taken, and own the crown? What's the game plan here for you?
I'd like to break the record. We'll see. We'll take it year by year. But
Big Ben.
Ben set the bar pretty high, and what I think he's at 249. So that's a good chunk of games. But I like to take a swing at it.
So you've been doing this a long time, and I know we do the old man jokes with you. Everyone gives you a hard time about it. But that being said, I do want to know, what is it like getting out of bed in the morning at your age compared to what it was 10 years ago? Like, start me with the eyes open and go.
Eyes open. And then once I get up out of bed, I'm like, legs, ankles and knees hurt a little bit more than they used to. Yep. You start to shake around and say, okay, we can still go. And we start walking. And, from there, I get better as the day keeps going. And, I think, I try to be intentional about taking care of my body, and I think that's been the main thing for me, even playing this long, is learning at a young age how to take care of my body, especially in the league, whether it's massages or it's Pilates or it's extra stretching or cupping. It's a multitude of things, and I just have to be smarter about it. And after a game, I have to be on a massage table.
You get in the cold tub after the game?
Yes. Got to be in the cold tub.
Man.
So it's cold tub and then massage?
Cold tub, hot tub, massage, you name it. It's a plethora of things these days.
Look, Cam, you're one of the, if not the unquestioned leader, obviously, of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, Dianna and I and the rest of the world, we're not in the locker room with you guys. Mm-hmm. So we don't know how everything was handled with the Russell Wilson, Justin Fields situation, because in my opinion, I'm a big Justin Fields fan. He played really well when Russ was hurt. How was that transition? I mean, it helps when you go 2-0 as Russ and he's played outstanding, but how was that transition from the leadership perspective in the locker room?
I think for us, it came to a point where, especially during training camp, we acknowledged both guys were pretty damn special. And we knew it was going to be, a pretty good competition. Either way, we were going to be set at quarterback just because these guys are amazing.
Yeah.
And so it worked out where, we were playing, Russ got hurt, and, you roll with Justin. Mike T came and addressed us once he felt Russ was able to go. And I don't think we missed a beat in that. I think we understood we're going to support both guys. And whoever's on the field, we got to provide short fields. We got to make sure we give them every opportunity to succeed, because we understand it's not our decision, but it's our decision to make these guys look good. And so making sure we were able to just help out as much as possible.
Yet at the same time, Mike makes the decision to move off Justin after having some success there. It almost felt like he was on an island there, right? Like, it's at least on the outside. Look, I'm not going to talk for your team. I'm just going to say on the outside. We're all like, Mike, what are you doing? And he obviously made the right decision here, as you guys have been able to find ways to win every week. What was Coach like the next day? Come on. Like, you're telling me he wasn't walking around like, I'm the guy. I told you. What was he really like?
I think the only thing I heard him say, when everybody started asking about, congrats on making that decision, he was just like, well, that's why they pay me the big bucks. And I was like,
it's true.
damn right. it's a pat on his back, but like, he's not looking for the pat on his back. He's just looking to make sure we win. Because if we lost, he'd be like, man, y'all need to make me look right. And so, he's big on that.
You were part of that recruitment when Russ came on that free agent visit, and you were explaining to him, like, look, this is Pittsburgh. This is not L.A. You play in Pittsburgh. It's a certain type of community, right? It's a certain type of culture there. Yes. It's all about football there in Pittsburgh. So now Russ is there, and he's part of the community. He's leaning into it. What's, like, the most Pittsburgh thing you've seen Russ do, even though he's new to all this? Anything you've observed where you're like, this guy, he's acting like he's been here?
Well, I think once I saw Russ go to the Steelers pro shop and he was buying a lot, I was like, he's invested.
Team issue?
I was like, Russ,
he was team issue gear?
Yeah, it was like, I'm like, Russ, they give you that stuff for free, and he's going out and buying it himself. I'm like, I guess he's committed. Like, he's locked in from there. So, you appreciate it. Like,
how is Russ integrated to the locker room, though? Because, there's a lot being said about how his time finished in Seattle, even though he's won a Super Bowl, been to another, and then the time in Denver, where they pretty much gave him away for free for you guys. They're pretty much paying for his salary. How was that in the locker room? Because there's a lot of stuff outside of that said about him.
For us, I think it comes to a point where, we don't really care what happened before. All we can worry about is what's going on. And so when he got here, it was more just like, be a part of the team. We don't need you to be some savior. We have a lot of good teammates. We got a lot of good leaders. We're just asking you to be a part of this. And Russ has been bought in, just trying to connect, trying to learn people, communicate. I don't think there's a day where you don't see Russ trying to work with a guy extra after practice or trying to get to know people. So I think Russ has been, just trying to extend himself and just learn from different people.
After years of covering you, I can say this fiercely. I don't think I know a player and a head coach that have a bond and a relationship the way you have with Mike Tomlin. Like, I've even noticed, like, after the games that I'm chasing after you trying to get an interview, Mike will wait for you to finish your interview with us and then walk into the locker room with you. He waits for you every single game, right? You guys obviously have got something really special. We only see the stuff at the podium. We've all, if you cover the team, you've had a couple conversations, but we don't know him the way you do. From the coach side of this, on what makes Mike Tomlin so good every year, what is it that you've learned over all your years being a Steeler that makes Mike Tomlin so good?
He knows to push each of our buttons in different ways. And he is very keen on doing that. Even if you're not practicing, like today was my day off, and he was still finding ways to push my buttons, sharing analytical data with me about my age.
That's amazing.
He does that for every single player. I know everybody makes a big deal about, he's a player's coach. Man, coach finds different ways to motivate different players. And whether it was AB when he was here and he was chasing greatness and, sharing all the different stats for him, Mike T knows how to find stuff for each one of us. If you're a guy who needs a little bit of embarrassment, he's going to give you a little bit of embarrassment.
Wow.
If he's a guy, that just needs a little bit of extra love, he's going to do that. Or if he's a guy who's just, you don't have to say a lot to, but roll out the ball, he's ready to play, he'll provide that as well.
You guys are off to one of your better starts this year, and quite honestly, it feels different on the outside for the Pittsburgh Steelers because you guys really have been through a revolving door of quarterbacks. That defense has always been the steel curtain, right? And you continue to be that steel curtain. But you got a good test this weekend against Jaden Daniels and those Commanders. He was born, just so you know, in the year 2000.
That was one of the stats Mike probably gave him. He was like, the quarterback's 2000, right? You're like,
which is nuts. Like, what are you looking forward to, and what's going to be your toughest test this weekend?
The thing I'm looking forward to, I just read this crazy stat that they've only had 19 punts in 9 games. In 2 games, they had 0 punts.
0, yeah.
So when you think about that stat, I'm like, shoot. We were even talking about it. Like, if you get off the field, you gotta throw a pep rally because like nobody else is really doing this. And he's having a lot of success running the ball. I can't say enough about the mobility he has, but their whole offense has been just gelling since day one. So excited to really just go against that group.
Yeah, their punter trusts Way doesn't do much. He just hangs out.
Yeah,
on the
it's
sideline
like,
I
I want to know from a defensive perspective, because I'm a film nut, right? And I watched every one of his games, and as you're watching him, you don't have to give away a lot. What makes him so special, though? They're third in the NFL in third down. They're third in the NFL in rushing, which a lot of people don't understand either. They run the ball really well. What makes him so difficult to defend?
I think with the rushing, you have, two really good running backs leading the way, but then you add a quarterback that's pretty damn special as well. That's going to really screw up a lot for a lot of people. You could have the perfect play call as a defense, right? But if this guy makes somebody miss, you're playing 10 on 11. And it's just, the defense is always at a disadvantage because, there's a chance for everybody to be covered. And if one guy misses a tackle, it's a home run hit.
I said TJ Watt is better than his brother JJ, and people were coming at me hard. Help me. Help me. You agree with me? Come on.
I've only played with TJ, but I know JJ as well. It's something in that Wisconsin water that, they were born in, genetic test tubes because these dudes are special.
I don't know. I don't think the Heyward brothers are doing too bad themselves. So let's not sell that too short. Let's not sell that short. All right, to get you out of here. So our show's called Scoop City. Thank you so much for helping on with us. So we always ask our guests some scoop. So we want some scoop on you. What's the scoop on the Buckeye, you, dressing up as a Wolverine for Halloween?
I wanted to play more into my age. Because the big thing was Wolverine was in the Deadpool movie, and they say he could play till he's 90, or you could do it till he's 90. And I was thinking that kind of fits my MO these days. Everybody wants me to retire, or everybody thinks I'm supposed to be done. I'm like, maybe I'll just play till I'm 75 years old. That's a joke, by the way.
I was just going to say, you just gave us the best scoop.
I got a scoop. I got a scoop
aggregation?
too.
Can you see it? Cam Heyward plays to 75.
Last question. What's this? Because I've studied you and I've really enjoyed watching your media career, right? You have a podcast right now. You went to the NFL broadcast boot camp a couple years ago. What's the scoop on you when you retire? Are you wanting to get into the media full time because you can do it?
I might like to. We'll see what happens. I don't like the jump in all the way and declare, hey, I'm going to be this media person, but there's options there. But I think I enjoy the podcast where I enjoy talking about my Buckeyes. I enjoy talking about my Steelers. I also enjoy just talking about, pop culture stuff, whether it's Love is Blind and all that stuff.
Gosh,
so it's a good time.
All right, joining us now, San Francisco 49er Fred Warner, after a really good season once again for you, despite the fact that you're dealing with some injury here midway through the year. We kept describing the 49ers this season as just weird. It was weird vibes you guys were going through. What was it like for you since, you were out there and with these guys?
Yeah, I think weird is the perfect word because it just wasn't us, right? We're so accustomed to just high-level play, dominance, always making the playoffs, always having a chance at winning a Super Bowl. And all year we're kind of waiting on that. Not waiting on it, we're chasing that moment of all right, this is the win that's going to catapult us to going on a run, right, and getting us exactly where we need to be. And it just never really quite happened that way. We had a bunch of injuries at key positions and just could never find it, right? And so then once we were out of it, it was just it was tough. Yeah.
Obviously, the Christian McCaffrey injury, dominated the story, kind of just hung over you guys all season long.
Yeah.
And yet you have the Ricky Pearsall situation, which I've never covered anything like that.
Never.
You guys have never been a part of that. What was that like in that short window for you guys when you weren't sure if Ricky was going to live or not?
It was super just emotional time because, like you mentioned, this was life or death. This wasn't something where it was a guy may have hurt himself on the field. This is a guy who's fighting for his life, and this was home. This is in your backyard that this is happening, one of your teammates getting shot. So it was tough. Obviously, super blessed that he's even still with us, thank God. But, I mean, Ricky is so amazing. The moment he stepped on our team, he walked up to each of us. He walked up to me and was like, Fred Warner, I'm Ricky Pearsall, and he was just the complete right guy. So super happy that he was able to end the season the right way and be with us and everything. So the future is very bright for him.
How'd you help Christian McCaffrey battle through just what was obviously outrageously frustrating for him as he was doing everything he possibly could to get out there?
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey, you mentioned how that was the bulk of the talk, right? And rightfully so. This is the guy who is one of the best players in the league, you know, mentally and physically on the field for us, on and off. I think just talking with him, you know, just kind of keeping his mind right in the moments that he wasn't on the field, just making sure that, hey, man, you're going to get back, you're going to be ready to go. He did come back and versus that Buffalo Bills game, gets injured again. But before he gets injured, you're thinking like, man, this guy, he's having his best game of his season so far. This is where he takes off, and you know, obviously hurt his knee and everything. So it was just a tough year for him. I know he's got that fire in his belly right now. We've been texting back and forth. I know he's going to be ready to go next season.
Well, another person, the leader of your team, your head coach Kyle Shanahan, always has that fire in his belly. What was he like this year? Because I felt like even from watching him from afar, he was on a roller coaster himself, trying to keep you guys together. Like we're so close.
Yeah. I mean, it's so tough as a head coach. I could never imagine. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I'm one of the head leaders of the team, and I try to keep the ship afloat, right? But he's the guy that you know, we're all looking at week in and week out, and he does such a great job every week getting us prepared and getting us right. And at the end of the day, players got to go out there. Players got to win games. Players got to make plays. So you know that's kind of out of your control as a coach, but it's tough when you are losing games and you're not playing up to that standard that you know that you're accustomed to and that you've built and want to continue to see. So I know he's going to be fired up, ready to get us going this offseason.
All right, I'm done with the sad and the depressing stuff.
Right,
the season's over. It's over. Let's turn this page,
Please,
right?
yes.
So let's turn this page. It's fresh, right? It really
Yeah.
starts now for you guys as you start thinking about what the 49ers are going to be. And you guys got some stuff to work out, right? This
Sure.
roster's got some contracts got to be adjusted and fixed, and you got to figure out what it's going to look like. But there's no question that Brock Purdy is the guy, that this is who the 49ers want. This deal is going to get worked on soon.
Yep.
What is it about Brock Purdy that maybe people outside of the 49ers, outside of that locker room, don't really understand what makes him so good?
Well, I mean, the thing is like if you truly watch the tape and you watch all the other elite quarterbacks in this league, they all have a common thread amongst all of them in the fact that they're able to process the game at such a high level, being able to create plays with their feet, make the high-level throws up and down the field. Brock Purdy does all these things, and he was in the MVP conversation a year ago. Like, let's not forget that. He took us to a Super Bowl, and he gave us the lead before, obviously, Patrick Mahomes and them took it away from us in that Super Bowl, right? So this is the guy. Like, there's no question. Everybody out there, if you have any questions about Brock Purdy, I'm here to tell you I'm not biased. I know ball. He's the guy. Like, it's not – it's like –
Do you just want a Toyota? Is that what it is?
I do want a little bit of a Toyota too. Okay, I want Brock. All right, hook me up, brother. But
get him that Highlander.
But listen, this is by far the guy. He's such a great quarterback, such a great guy. You know, great leader for us. I'm excited for what's to come.
All right, so the Niners will be set with Brock at quarterback eventually at some point here in terms of the future of him. You got Robert Saleh back.
Yeah,
that's your guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's coming back to San Francisco after just an up and down experience as a head coach in New York, but obviously ready to get back in there.
Yeah.
In a space I think he's really comfortable in.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to with having Robert back in the building?
Just getting back to playing dominant defense. That's all I've ever known. Since being here with the 49ers, you know, is playing dominant defense for our team to ultimately give ourselves a chance to win the Super Bowl. And we weren't that last year. We haven't been just on the details of just how to be that, right? And so I think Coach Saleh, he knows that recipe, and I'm excited to get him back in and get back to work.
All right, you're really close to your teammates, so I'm going to do this quick with you before I let you go.
Okay.
All right. It's really just quick answers of it. Only one guy you can name. All right. So if someone had to just pick the music in your Toyota,
right.
someone was running DJ. Which teammate are you picking to run the music?
I think that's kind of a no-brainer. I think Debo Samuel's the one that kind of run the show in the locker room pregame, so I'm gonna let him go and run.
All right.
that.
So if one of your teammates has to make a toast at your wedding,
wow,
who would you say? Okay, this one would knock it out of the park.
Knock it out of the park at the wedding. I'd probably say Dre Greenlaw. It's like my brother, right? You know, and give him the toast to the wedding. How about that?
What about him? How's he doing? How is he holding up?
He's doing great. You know, he's training right now. He's over in Dallas, and that's where his home is with his wife and son and family. So he's training, getting ready for obviously a very fiery free agency period that's coming up, and we got to get him.
Let's see if you guys are able to do that. All right, finally, if someone was to just have to take care of your home, let's say you and your wife take a nice trip away, you shut it down, you just need someone to take care of what's going on back there. Who would you trust in with all your valuables?
You know, the guy that kind of pops into my mind is like a true bodyguard type, Trent Williams. Trent Williams, you know, nobody's going to come over to my house and try to mess around with Trent Williams.
Exactly, because you
know
imagine Robert pulling up to your house and just being like, probably
not. Yeah,
that.
exactly. So I'll just be like, beware of Trent Williams. Beware of Bear.
All right, I know that you're very particular about what you put in your body.
1,000%.
Right? You have to be.
Yep.
And I've heard you say before, if you can't pronounce it, you don't
That's
eat it.
correct,
You don't put
yes.
it in you. Which I don't know how you're doing in New Orleans, knowing that, because the food here is tremendous, and I can't really pronounce half the things because it's all in
Correct.
French. But that being said, can you tell me about Ascent?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for the longest time, I think as athletes, we're all looking for protein powder because protein is so crucial to building muscle, to recovering for your sport. And I've been trying so many over the years. It's been a hassle trying to find the best one. But then finally, I find Ascent. And they're by far the best because of the taste and the quality. I don't have to worry about all the banned substances, like are they like messing around with all that. They do all the third-party testing, and ever since I've been using it, I've been able to see my game take it to another level, since using them. So they're the best, and I love using them.
For Super Bowl coming up this Sunday, I mean, it's wild to think you guys were just playing in this thing.
Yeah.
And just how different this is. But either way, you got the Chiefs back in this thing. In terms of the defenses, better unit. The Eagles or the Chiefs? Putting you on the spot.
No, I know.
Because I know they're both different in their own way.
They're both different. I have such admiration and respect for both, obviously, the players and coaches, Spagnuolo and Fangio, the things that they've been able to do for both teams. I don't know if I could say one's better than the other, but what I am looking forward to is the matchup between both sides. Obviously, the Eagles' defense stopping Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, versus the Chiefs' defense stopping Saquon Barkley, right?
What is the plan? Like, if you're with the Chiefs right now,
yeah.
What are you doing? Like, if you're in the room with Spags, you're going, all right, how are we going to stop Saquon Barkley? Like, how do you stop him?
I wish I knew. Obviously, everybody wishes they knew because everybody had that same game plan going against them, and nobody was able to stop him. So, if they do stop him, obviously that gives them the best chance to win.
And for Patrick, how do you stop 15?
That's another one I'm still searching for.
I know. No one seems to have. I feel like you guys have little blips of figuring it out, but he's finding ways around it.
You got to win the fourth quarter. Yeah. Teams talk about, hey, let's start fast. Let's get off to a fast start. And in the Super Bowl and with this guy, you got to finish fast.
Yeah.
You got to finish faster, because those moments are the crucial ones. When the game's tight, who's going to be on it? Who's going to make that one play to knock a ball loose or pick a football off?
I'm curious to see if the Chiefs actually, and I've never said this about the Chiefs before, if they're going to be able to keep up offensively with the Eagles. Because I just think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Yeah. And we haven't had to see the Chiefs really score that many points this year.
They always score one more than the other team.
Always.
Right? Yeah.
Always just one more right at the end. I sound like I'm a Chief hater. I'm not. Look at the pants. Right. Either way, Fred, thank you so much. I appreciate it all. Good luck this season. You guys are going to be turning it around. We're excited to see it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks for hanging out in Scoop City.
Absolutely, thank you.
Awesome. All right, joining the Toyota studio, thanks to Campbell's Chunky Soup right now. Houston Texans, Will Anderson joins the show right now. First of all, how's this experience been for you? Being down here in New Orleans with all the hype and energy of the city?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I was like, they asked me about it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to come down here. I get to get some good food, some good weather, good people, great vibes, see some of the guys, see some of the members on Clutch, and do this experience. So I'm excited.
Yeah. How much of this experience makes you think, well, this is what I want to get here and play in this thing, just by being around all this?
I know. I was, after the game that we had lost or whatever like that, I was so upset because I'm like, I just want to keep going. I want to keep playing. Like, my body felt great. Like, I was in good spirits. But just being around this atmosphere, like, it just makes you keep chasing that dream.
You've said before that this Texans team has just something really special, that you've never played on a team like this. Yeah. Why do you think you guys are like this? What is it that makes this Texans team so special?
Yeah, first I just want to start by saying our faith. I think, like, God is just that's our number one priority in that building. Like, just seeing how many people speak about their faith and how important God is to them. And when you do that, His favor is upon us. And we just have the right people in the building. We have great people in the building, from the top of the staff all the way to whoever it is, from the nutritionist, sports performance, everybody, the team, coaching. So we have a special group of guys and people that want to help build the culture and make it right.
The nickname, the Terminator. Just give me the backstory here. Where is this coming from?
So that came from Steve Sarkisian. He's the head coach at the Texas right now. Yep. And my freshman year, he would call me that because I just be wrecking practice all the time.
You're so young, though. Do you even know what the Terminator is?
I still have not watched one Terminator movie yet.
You have a nickname of a movie from a show that you've never seen.
Never seen.
But you've seen pictures. Like, you get like what it looks like.
Yeah,
the Arnold Schwarzenegger and the whole thing. I think you need to put that in your off-season plans, but in between a couple workouts to check it out, because it is really good.
Okay, I'm gonna binge it this off-season.
Good, do it. And there's like 7 of them, so you can't. Maybe you'll get addicted. It could be something that you tune into. So I have to admit to you that you guys were my Super Bowl pick all year.
And I stood strong all the way to the end. Like, everyone was trying to convince me to switch teams, to hop onto the Eagles, and I was tempted. But I stood in it. And you guys, I really like the way you guys ended the season.
Yeah.
And I do think that there was a time during the season where you guys were just trying to figure out what it was that you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Have you figured that out? Do you think the end of the season is more who you guys are?
Most definitely. I think that was the best complementary football that we played all season. I thought we was clicking. Thought defense we were clicking. Offense was clicking. CJ was rolling. Coaches was rolling. Everybody was rolling in the building. And we just want to keep feeding off that energy. Like, we have to do whatever it takes to win. Find a way. That's like the message that, my D-line coach was telling us. Like, we have to find a way to win these games. And I feel like the last 2 games of the season that we put on, that's the type of brand of football that we want to continue to play.
You were an absolute monster against the New England Patriots with 3 sacks. When you reflect back on that game, what was your mindset that you had such a good one?
Yeah, I thought that week of practice was like one of my best weeks of practice. And Derek Barnett, he plays defensive end, and he was like, all right, Will, it's time to get back in the hunt now. Like, you slipping a little bit, and a little switch went off in my head, and I just was like, bro, just go out there and be free and play ball and be you.
Yeah. How much have you learned about being an NFL player just from when you started to where you're at now? It's obviously not been that long.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you're just a completely different kind of guy than you were when you entered the league?
Most definitely. Like, I remember last year, my rookie year or whatever like that, like, I was just timid to do things. I didn't want to mess up. I wanted to make sure everything I was right. But now I'm just free, and I'm just like, bro, just go ball, have fun. It's just like practice out there, bro. Like, you know what to do, bro. Like, you got your guys with you. They give me so much confidence to go out there and do what I need to do. Coach Ryan's my D-line coach. Everybody in the building is fantastic. They rally behind me, so it's just fun.
I've never had a conversation with your head coach and walked away going, gosh, that guy has no energy, or he seems sleepy. He's just a 10 all the time and revving. Do you ever see him not energized?
No, never. And I think that's why we love him so much, because we feed off that energy. It's contagious, and I think that's what keeps our team going. Like, he still has that player mindset, that player attitude, and we feed off of that attitude.
Yeah, give me something that you guys are going to probably lock in this offseason to make sure that this Texans team looks a little bit more like the first year compared to last year with CJ, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's just the execution part of it. I think Coach is going to do a really good job of making sure that we understand exactly what we're doing and how to do it the right way and how to do it consistently the right way. And I know going into OTAs and things like that, we want to continue to just gel as a team. And, I was talking to my coach yesterday, and he was like, this is where we find out who we want to be as a defense, who we want to be as a team. And that's what we have to do during this time of off-season and OTAs.
How's CJ doing?
CJ's great. CJ's great. He's in LA chilling, having fun, doing his thing, man. And I'm excited for him. I love playing with him. He's a great guy, great dude. And there's no other quarterback that I'd rather play with than him.
Does he still have that swagger about him, that confidence that he had after that rookie year?
Always.
Yeah.
CJ's a baller. He has all the tangibles, everything, like the skill set, the mindset, the leadership to take this team to where it needs to be, and I believe he can do that.
I want you to take a second to think about this, because it may be a little hard. But if there was a quality about another player in the league that plays your position that you wish maybe you had, so something maybe you admire about someone else, is there something specific, like a skill set that another player that plays your spot? And you're allowed to say you have it all. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't have it all. I would say Miles is like one person that I really look up to. Miles Garrett. Just as far as like the rush and stuff, the way how he can bend the corner a little bit more. I think working with him this offseason and stuff like that will help me more. He's been a great help for me, and that's somebody I really and truly look up to. He's a great person off the field, just he is on the field. So that's one guy that I look up to that I want to emulate my game a little bit after.
Yeah, I won't do this to you, but if I were to take your phone and looked at all your texts, who on your team would you say you text the most with?
Who on my team would I say? Probably John Mechie.
Yeah,
that's my guy.
What are you texting him about?
Bro, everything. We went to Alabama together, so we're like brothers. So just being crazy, just talking about shoes. Drake is he likes Drake, I like Drake, and I'm trying to go up to Canada, Toronto. That's where he's at. So just all different type of things for real.
Do you think Drake should be doing the halftime show, or are you?
Hey, I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into that.
You keep it separate, but I don't know. It sounds like you're Team Drake here. Headline news right on the bottom of SportsCenter. Will Anderson says he's Team Drake. That being said, just for your overall outlook here, for you personally, who do you want to be in this upcoming season?
I just want to continue to be myself. Just continue to be Will Anderson Jr. and build off what I did last year and just keep progressing and getting better and just keep taking that next step of consistency and playing my brand of ball.
Yeah, cool. And one last question for this weekend. I got to ask you about the Super Bowl. Who on the field defensively do you think is going to have the advantage between the Eagles and the Chiefs?
I think they have both. I think both of those guys have really great defenses. They have a lot of great players on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good matchup up front. You know, I really just look at the D-line and the O-line when I play. And I think they have studs on both sides of the ball.
I had Fred Warner here before, and I was like, come on, let's come up with a game plan if you're the Eagles defense trying to stop Patrick Mahomes. He's like, this is the problem.
Yeah.
No, we don't really know.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know how. I mean, you have small piece of things, ideas, but consistently stopping him for you, what do you think is going to be the key?
Yeah, it's just containing him, man.
Yeah.
You do a good job of pushing the pocket, collapsing the pocket, and it doesn't always have to be about sacks. You getting pressure in his face, making an O-lineman sit in his lap. He can't move around. He can't escape, making him go west and east and not north and south.
Yep.
You're fine. You have a good game, but that's like one of the biggest things that you think.
Let's flip it, Saquon. How do you game plan for him? You can, right? You
got all 11 hats to the ball.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they got this guy named A.J. Brown, too, who they can throw to if they are able to stop the ground game.
Squad over there.
That's the thing. That they're talented top to bottom on that roster. I almost look at it as the Eagles are the strength and the Chiefs are the scheme, right? Because they're really smart about how they find ways to win. They find ways to win. Whereas I do think the Eagles have a shot, though, to outmuscle them. So we'll say, if you have to make a pick, what do you got?
I'm not going for either of them.
You know, just a big
my Bama guys, though. My Bama guys.
Yeah, that's
my Bama
fair.
Guys.
You root for your
I want
Bama
them to
guys.
win one. My Bama guys.
All right. On behalf of Campbell's Chunky, Will, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate you so much. Stopping by the Toyota studio here on Scoop City.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
This is awesome. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into Scoop City. If you want to hear more, make sure you like and subscribe. We drop our new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.